Hi guys, welcome back to our week 10 meeting. Here, Jonathan's here, Victoria's here. So as usual, you guys are early. I have just updated your exam 2 grade with the extra points added onto it. So if you guys want to take a look one more time, so go back to your D2L, check on the exam 2 grade, and make sure I've added to your extra points on there too. And if it's anything missing, or if you think there's something wrong with it, let me know, and I'll check it for you. Okay. And also, guys, I have just finished grading your discussions up to week 8. So check out your discussion grade, and then if you have any question, any concern, let me know. And then guys, make sure to do your discussion on time. And then don't forget about the length of the discussion. The minimum is 300 words. So some of you have been writing very short discussions, so make sure be careful. Okay. All right. Now let's talk about this week. So we're gonna cover 2 chapters this week. Let me do a screen sharing. All right, so first chapter 13, cost of production. And then guys, just a reminder, just like before, if you have any questions, just post it into the comment box and I'll answer them as soon as possible. Okay, so cost of productions. Let me see. So definitions. So profit equals to total revenue minus total cost. Now, total revenue, think this as the money you're collecting from customers. So total revenue is how much cash you have in your cash register. That's your total revenue. And then cost is how much you pay for the productions. So how much you pay for labors, how much you pay for raw material, your rent, those are all cost. And then profit is when you take your revenue, subtract your cost, that's your profit. And then the goal of every single company is to maximize our profit, not revenue, not nor cost. It's to maximize our profit. Now, there are 2 types of costs. You have the explicit cost and implicit cost. So explicit cost is the cost of the required money. So when you guys pay for rent, when you pay for your school, that's your explicit cost. Implicit cost is the cost that doesn't require money. So such as the opportunity cost or your time, which doesn't involve any money, that's an implicit cost. Now from implicit cost, explicit cost, we have 2 more definitions. Difference between accounting profit and economic profit. So accounting profit is the total revenue minus total explicit cost. That's your accounting profit. And an economic profit is your total revenue minus total cost, which is your explicit and implicit cost. Now the difference between the two, let's suppose that let me think of example. Now, suppose I have an opportunity to open a Chinese restaurant, and then let's suppose for the Chinese restaurant that for the entire year, my income for the restaurant. Here, let me use my OneNote, Microsoft OneNote. All right, so let's suppose for the entire year, my revenue for the business is gonna be $100,000, and then pay for my labor. So labor cost, let's call it $30,000, and then my material cost, let's call another $30,000, and then everything else, so others, let's call this one $20,000. All right, and then let's say we have one more cost, my opportunity cost. Now let's suppose that if I open my business, if I open a restaurant, I cannot teach anymore, so I had to give up my salary for teaching. So let's suppose my salary is $70,000. Just suppose, okay? By the way, guys, I do make more than that. It's missing a couple zeros in there, okay? Just kidding. I don't make that much money. All right, so let's find. Oh, what happened? No, where did it go? That's weird. Everything's gone. Oh my god. Let me write this down. So revenue was $100,000. That never happened before. Labor cost is 30,000, and then my material cost is another 30,000. And then what else? What else do we say? Other cost is gonna be 20,000. My opportunity cost is another, what did we say, $70,000. All right, so if we're doing for the accounting profit, a mess. All right, so for accounting profit, equal to your revenue, which is $100,000, minus your explicit cost. So everything we pay money for. So the labor is 30,000, the materials 30,000, and then other expense 20,000. So for the entire year, my accounting profit is going to be $20,000 profit. Now my economic profit So for economic profit, this is my revenue, so $100,000 minus my all the explicit costs, so everything we did before, and also subtracting my implicit cost, my opportunity cost. So my economic profit in this case will be a negative $50,000. So which means if I open a business, I will make an accounting profit, but in reality, I'll be losing money because I'm giving up more than what I'm gaining. So this is a negative economic profit. Okay, so that's how distinguish between accounting profit, economic profit. All right, and let's keep going. Production function just shows you the production between your input and also your output. So let's do example here. Suppose we have Farmer Jack, and then for Farmer Jack, he will hire more laborers to produce wheat, and then when he hires 0 labor, he produce 0 wheat. So there's no workers, therefore there's no production. He hire 1 worker, they produce 1,000 tons of wheat, or 1,000 bushels of wheat. He hire 2 workers, they produce total of 1,800 wheat. 3 workers, 2,400, 4 workers, 2,800, and then 5 workers, 3,000. So as you can see, the more worker this farmer hires, the more production for wheat we have. And then this graph on the right, that is your production function. So it shows you the relationship between our unit input, so which is labors, and then our unit output, which is your production of wheat. Now, marginal product measures the difference or the change in total product. So by hiring 1 more worker, how many extra output do you gain from 1 more worker? We call this marginal product. Now, to find marginal product, the formula for it is the change in output divided by change in labor. So you find out how much your labor change, how much your number of worker changes, and then on top is how much your output changes. So let's do this over here. The easiest way to do this is to draw 2 more columns. So on the left, find out the change in labor, and then on the right, find out the change in quantity. So change in labor, if you look closely, is from 0 to 1 to 2, 3, 4, 5. So every level change by 1. So 1 all the way down. Now on the right, the change in quantity is the difference between each level quantity. So it's 1,000 for the first level, 800 for the second level, and then what is this? Another 600 for the third level, 400, and then 200. So the marginal product of labor is equal to the change in quantity divided by the change in labor. And then since every labor changed by 1, so it's just 1,000 divided by 1, which is 1,000, and then 800, 600, 400, and 200. So the marginal product, it measures how much output do you gain by hiring one worker. So when you hire the first worker, you gain 1,000 output. Second worker, you gain 800. Third worker, you gain 600, and then so on, so on. And until the last worker, for the fifth guy, you hire him, you gain 200 extra output. So that's your MPL, the marginal product of labor. This. Now, if you notice let me go back. The MPL is getting smaller. So at the beginning, the MPL was 1,000, and until the end become 200. And if you keep drawing this line, eventually this line will come down. So the reason why the curve looks like this, now if you guys remember your Algebra 2 class, this is called concave down. And then if you do the derivative in your business calculus class, this has a, I believe it was a negative second derivative. Okay, so what this is because one important law, and this law is called the diminishing marginal product, or the law of diminishing marginal product. So it says that the marginal product of an input declines as the quantity of input increases, holding everything else equal. So given the same company you have, if you keep hiring more labor, more workers into the company, your total output will increase. But the extra production from each additional worker is getting less and less and less and less. So even though your production is overall is increasing, but your company is becoming less efficient. And then the reason why is that many companies do suffer from overcrowding or congestions. So imagine that let's suppose we have a company, and then we hire. Now let's say for our company we have a business of typing letters. Okay, so everybody just type letters. So we have 10 computers and 10 workers. Now with 10 workers, it's very efficient. But if you increase workers only and still have only 10 computers, now eventually you lose efficiency. That you can only produce so many letters at the same time. Then in the end, how much additional output from each worker is getting less and less and less. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. Now, marginal cost is the change in total cost divided by change in quantity. That's your marginal cost. So for this problem over here, we have our change in quantity on the left. So on the left, that's your total quantities. To find change in quantity, again, find the difference. So the change in quantity is going to be 1,000, 800, 600, 400, and 200. And then change in total cost. Let's do this. So 2,000 for the first level, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, and 2,000. So the marginal cost is your change in quantity divided by change. I'm sorry, reverse that. Change in total cost divided by change in quantity. So for the first one, will be 2,000 divided by 1,000. So just $2. And the next one, 2,000 divided by 800. I believe this is what, 2.5. And then 2,000 divided by 600. And then keep going. So last one, 2,000 divided by 200. So this will be 10. Okay, so that's your marginal cost. So first find out what's your change in total cost, and then divide it by what's your change in quantity. That will get you your marginal cost. And the marginal cost is also increasing. Okay. Now, a couple more definitions. So difference between fixed cost and variable cost. So fixed cost is the cost in the company that doesn't vary with quantity of output produced. And then variable cost on the other side, it will vary as the more or less the output produced. Now, guys, let's suppose we open a business. Let's suppose we open a business that will produce, what do we produce? Let's produce chicken fried rice. Now, guys, any idea what type of stuff do we need to produce chicken fried rice? So if I want to open a business, what type of cost do I have in associated to producing chicken fried rice? Now, you guys all ate chicken fried rice before, right? So let me wait. Let me see how far you guys can think of this. So tell me, what type of cost do I have if I want to run a chicken fried rice business? Any idea? Okay, so all right, Victoria coming first. So we have cost for rent. We have cost for ingredients. So that's what is chickens and rice. What else do we need? All right, so opportunity cost. Okay, very good opportunity cost. Anything else? Anything else we need, guys? Remember, the restaurant doesn't write itself. Okay, we need, what do we need? We need people, laborers, and utilities, right? We need all this. All right, so let's look at this four category over here. So rent, chicken and rice, and labor and utility. Now, let's go bottom up. So if I produce more chicken fried rice, does my utility cost increase? So do I pay more for gas and power? Yeah, right. Because you don't like to eat raw chicken fried rice. So when I produce more chicken fried rice, utility costs will increase. Now next, do I pay more for labor? Do I need to hire more people? Of course, right? I mean, that's how you produce chicken fried rice. You need more people. So labor also goes up. Now, do I need to buy more chicken and rice to make more chicken fried rice? I mean, duh, chicken fried rice, right? You need more chicken and rice. Now, last one, if I produce more chicken fried rice, do I need to pay more for labor? Not really, right? Because labor, do I need to pay for rent? Rent doesn't change that much because my landlord doesn't care about how much chicken fried rice I produce. My landlord just care about how much rent I pay at end of the month. So my rent doesn't depend on this production for chicken fried rice. So we call rent is a fixed cost. And then your chicken, your rice, your labor, your utility, all these are your variable cost. All right. So that's the difference. So a fixed cost, it will never change, no matter how much you produce. A variable cost will change and depends on how much you produce. So the more you produce, the more variable cost you pay. Okay, so let's keep going. And then your total cost, it's just your variable cost plus your fixed cost. That's your total cost. Let's keep going. All right, so a couple more definitions. So average fixed cost is your fixed cost divided by quantity. That's your average fixed cost. And then Let me see. Your average variable cost is your variable cost divided by quantity. And then your average total cost is your total cost divided by quantity. And then also equal to the ATC, ATC equal to AFC plus ABC. So a couple of formulas for ATC, okay? Oh, one more thing I want to point out to you guys. Now if you look at this graph over here, this is our average total cost, and the orange line is the marginal cost. Blue line is the average variable cost, and this is the average fixed cost. Now, if you notice, wherever the marginal cost is crossing with your ATC or AVC, this intersection is the minimum of ATC and then the minimum of AVC. So wherever the marginal cost is crossing with ATC, that's the minimum point for ATC. And wherever it's crossing with the AVC, that's the minimum point for AVC. Okay. All right. All right. So let's look at this table over here, and let's try to figure this out. Now, let's see how do we start. All right. So what you don't see here, we don't see any table for fixed cost. And let's just write it on the left. Now, fixed cost equals to your variable cost plus, well, variable cost plus fixed cost is total cost. So in this question, we have table for total cost. We have a table for variable cost, but we don't have a table for fixed cost. But we can find this out. So to find the fixed cost, let's look at the first output over here. So when the company producing zero output, now remember, variable cost says it depends on how much you produce. The more you produce, the more variable cost you pay. And then if you don't produce anything, you don't need any variable cost. So when the production is zero, your variable cost will be zero. Now for total cost here, so if your variable cost is zero, your total cost is 50, then your fixed cost is just equal to total cost minus variable cost. So 50 minus 0 is 50. And also remember that for fixed cost, doesn't matter how much you produce, it's always same fixed cost. So you produce 0 is 50, you produce 1 is 50, 2 is 50, 3 is 50. So it's 50 all the way. Okay. And then let's do the next one. So next one says the production of 1 unit, variable cost is 10. How much total cost? So I'm going to use 50 plus 10, which give you 60. Your average fixed cost, so will be your fixed cost 50 divided by quantity. So this is fixed cost divided by quantity. So 50 divided by 1, just 50. The marginal cost is your change in total cost over change in quantity. Now, change in total cost between each level is $10. So from 0 to 10, here, 50 to 60 is $10. And then for the next level, from 60 to 80, that's a $20 difference. All right, next one, your AFC. So this one over here, quantity is 2, FC is 50, so 50 divided by 2 give you 25. And an AVC, use a variable cost 30 divided by 2, that will be 15. ATC, use your total cost divided by quantity, so that should be a 40. Okay, and the next one, we're looking for these two numbers over here. Now we can find total cost. So total cost, remember the marginal cost is the difference in total cost. So if this is 80 and this is 30, then this must be 110. And then your total fixed cost is 50. Total cost is 110, and then the variable cost is 110 minus 50, which is 60. And the next one over here, your marginal cost is 110 to 150. There's a $40 difference. And an average variable cost, take your variable cost 100 divided by 4. That's a 25. All right, and the next one, our variable cost is 150. Fixed cost is 50. And then together, this is 200. And the average fixed cost is 50 divided by 5, which give you 10. The marginal cost 150 to 200. The difference is 50. And this over here, the average total cost will be 200 divided by 5, and that give you 40 again. Okay, so that's how to do this table. I think that's it for this chapter. Let's see. Oh, a couple more definitions. No, this is something called economy of scale. So you guys hear this very often. Every time one company try to merge, they argue for something called economy of scale. So economy of scale just means that when company join hand together, so when they merge together, they can save costs on some of the fixed expenses. So for example, if you have two companies, you need two separate CEOs. But if you merge together, you only need one CEO. So those expenses goes down, and that's called economy of scale. So in the beginning, when company expand production, their average total cost will be decreasing. But eventually, you lose this efficiency, and then the more you produce, the more cost you have. Then we call this, so this portion which is more efficient, we call economy of scale. This portion which is constant, we call constant return to scale. And this portion which we have a increasing cost, which is inefficient, this is called diseconomy of scale. Okay, so economy of scale, constant return to scale, and then diseconomy of scale. All right. Does anybody have any question over this chapter? No questions? All right. If no questions, we go on to the next chapter. Discard. So chapter 14, firms in competitive market. So this is important. So know what is a competitive market. Now we covered this before in chapter 4. That if you remember, for markets like broccoli's, paper for the printer, those will be your competitive market. And the reason why they're competitive, because 3 reasons. So first, many buyer, many sellers. That everybody, the market is very competitive. You have many competitions. And then second, the good offer but by the companies are all the same. So it doesn't matter which company you buy from, it will be the same broccoli, same banana, same printer, the paper for the printer. And the last one is that companies, they are free to enter or exit the market. So if the market is making profit, other company will join in. But if the market is losing money, then company will leave the market. And then every company is a price taker. That means you would take what the price is already set for you. You cannot set your own price. Okay. All right, more definitions. Total revenue is your price times quantity. Average revenue is your total revenue divided by quantity. No problem, Robert. Just make sure to finish the lecture when you go home. Okay. And then marginal revenue is your change in total revenue divided by change in quantity. So let's look at this table over here. So first, let's do the total revenue. So total revenue is your price times quantity. So first one over here, 0 times 10 is 0. And then 1 times 10 is 10. 2 times 10 is 20. 3 times 10 is 30. And the average revenue is your total revenue divided by quantity. So total revenue, here, let's do 20 divided by 2, which is 10. 30 divided by 3 give you 10. That's a 10. 40 divided by 4, that's a 10. And the last one is also 10. So it looks like that our average revenue is equal to the price level. So these two columns are the same thing. And then marginal revenue is a change in total revenue. So the first level change from 0 to 10 is 10. Second level change 10 to 20 is 10. Third level change 20 to 30 is also 10, and then 10 all the way. So this 3 column, they're all the same. So remember, only for perfect competitions that your average revenue your price, and then your marginal revenue, they're all the same thing. Okay, so AR equal to P equal to MR. Now, remember, this is only true for perfect competition. Later on, when we study, monopolies, oligopolies, or monopolies competition, this wouldn't be true anymore. Okay, so this is only true for perfect competitions. All right, this is important. So if a firm try to maximize profit, that if you're looking for maximize profit, what you're looking for is wherever the marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue. When this happens, your profit is maximized. So if you give me this table over here, you know what? All right, so if you know the profit, if you know the total cost, then profit is your total revenue minus total cost. So it will be -5,15775, and the marginal cost is the difference in total cost. So from 9 to 5 is $4, 15 to 9 is $6, and 23 to 15 is $8. So difference between each total cost is a marginal cost, and then your change in profit is different between each level. So $6, 4202. Now, it looks like that your profit is maximized at this two level over here. So this is $7 profit. That's when the profit is maximized. Now, if you notice that on this two table, this two line over here, that your marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. And whenever this happens, then your profit is maximized. And it also, that means there's a zero, your change in profit zero. Okay, so as long as your marginal cost equal to marginal revenue, your profit is maximized. Now on the graph, what you're looking for is an intersection between the marginal cost and marginal revenue. That will show you the profit maximizing output. So when you look at the graph like this, the first thing you're looking for is where the marginal cost equal to marginal revenue. That will show you how much profit is. Let me see what else to talk about. Okay, so shutdown exit. Let me give you an example. All right, so let's suppose that we're still in the fried rice, the business for chicken fried rice. So chicken fried rice. Now let's suppose our quantity, that for the entire month we can produce 1,000 chicken fried rice, and then the price for it is going to be $5 each. Now for the cost we have, so the cost, our cost of chicken. It costs $500 for chicken. Cost of rice, $500. Cost of labor, let's call this one $2,000. Utility, let's call this one another $1,000. And rent, let's say $2,000. All right, so let's see how much profit we make. Now, our total cost is everything above it. So total cost, it's your 500 plus 500, and then plus everything below it. So let's do this. So my total cost is $6,000. My total revenue that equals to price times quantity. So 1,000 times, that should be $5. $5. All right, so my total revenue is 5,000. Now let's see how much is our profit. So for this company's profit, it's equal to your total revenue of 5,000 minus your total cost of 6,000. So for this company, we're losing money. We're losing $1,000 per month. All right. So here's a question for you. So if this company is losing $1,000 per month for next month, should we stay open or should we close? So if we lose $1,000 a month for next month, should we stay open or should we close? Now, let's look at the different options. So if we stay open, we lose $1,000. Now, if we close, how much money do we lose? If we close down, we don't have any revenue, so this is gone. If we close down, we don't need to pay our chicken. We don't need to pay our rice. We don't need to pay our labor. No need to pay our utility, but we still need to pay our rent. So this rent over here, regardless of if you open or close, you're gonna pay for the rent. So this rent, if you close, then you're gonna lose $2,000 to pay the rent by itself. So in this case here, it's better to stay open and only lose 1,000 compared to close down and lose 2,000. So this is the difference between shutdown and exit. So in this case, it will stay open, but if the price change, let's say the price is at $3 each for chicken fried rice, then if you open, you lose 3,000. If you close, you lose 2,000. So in this case here, it's better to close down. Then we call this company shutting down. So in the company production, then if your short run profit is negative and it's less than and your loss is more than your fixed cost, then we're gonna shut down the market, shut down the company entirely. So don't produce anything, take your losses and just pay for the rent. But if it's vice versa, then your loss is not that much, then we should still stay open and lose only a little bit instead of closing down entirely and pay the rent by itself. So the difference between shutdown and exit, here we go. So shutdown, this happens when the price is lower than your average variable cost. So if it costs our company $4 on average to produce each chicken fried rice, and we'll only sell them for $3, then the more you produce, the more money you lose. So if your price less than ABC, we shut down immediately. Don't produce anything. But in the long run, all the variables become flexible. So in the long run, when you're renegotiating your rent with your landlord, then in this case, if your price is less than ATC, so which means you're losing money, then you're gonna exit the market. Okay, so in the short run, if your price is less than ABC, you shut down immediately. And in the long run, if your price is less than ATC, then you exit the market and just close down in the long run. All right, so for the firm's supply curve, we can look at the marginal revenue curve or marginal cost curve. So for this marginal cost curve, remember we said that if as long as the price is above your AVC, we're going to produce it. So this part, this highlighted part of your marginal cost curve, this is also company's short run supply curve. So that's where the supply comes from. And some costs is just, the cost you already paid for and cannot be recovered. This cost some cost. Let's keep going. Does anybody have any question at this point right now? No questions? Okay, all right, so let's look at this one over here. You're gonna see a graph like this on the quiz and also on your test. So I'll give you a graph and ask you how much is company's profit. Now, the first step, the first thing you do when you look at a graph like this, the first step, look for where the marginal cost equal to marginal revenue. So on this graph over here, this point is where the marginal cost equal to marginal revenue. And then from this point, the second step, get your quantity. So go down, get your quantity. So that's our quantity. And then third step, get an average total cost. So this is the average total cost, which is $6. It's a fourth step, get the price. Now remember, for perfect competitions that we said before, the price equals to AR, average revenue, and also the marginal revenue. So this marginal revenue curve is also our price line. So get your price, which is $10. So your profit, right over here. So profit equals to your price minus ATC times quantity. That's your profit. So $10 minus 6 times quantity. Then this area over here, that's your profit. So it'll be just 10 minus 6 times 50. That's a profit for the company. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. Now for this one over here, again, first thing we do, looking for the marginal cost equal to marginal revenue. So that's marginal cost, marginal revenue. And then go down. Second step, get your quantity. Third step, go to ATC, get your average total cost, which is $5. Fourth step, at the marginal revenue curve, that's also the price line. So price is $3. So for this over here, this area is going to be our loss. So not a profit anymore because your ATC is more than cost. It's more than price. So your profit equal to 3 minus 5 times 30. So this is -2 times 30. So it's a -60 profit, which means you're losing $60. Okay. All right, we're gonna skip this, not important. Now, in the long run, remember this, in the long run, in perfect competitions, then nobody make any profit. So in perfect competition, when the market is very competitive, then everybody's making just as much profit as anywhere else. So in the long run, companies in the perfect competition make zero economic profit. Okay. It's also true. The price equal to minimum ATC. All right. Let's see what else to talk about. I think this might be it for this chapter. All right, so that's it for chapter 14. Does anybody have any questions before I call over? All right, so guys, if no questions, then make sure to check your grade on D2L to make sure that you get the extra credit for this for the last test. And then if no questions, I will see everybody here same time next week. So next Wednesday at 2 p.m. right? Right, 2 p.m. So good luck, and have any question, let me know. And then don't forget, check your grade. So any mistakes there might be on there, let me know. I'll fix it for you. All right, guys, good luck. See you later. Bye-bye.